Oh, thank you very much for having me on Talk Art. And my name is Mosera, or Art-Mosera. I'm an artist. I'm a local artist. I'm a Caribbean artist. I love art in its full form, meaning I love to create music, and I love to paint, and I love to do poetry too. I love art in form. Art is what I'm about, yes. What I noticed about myself as growing up was just loving to create. And at school, I noticed I was very impressed when I saw a good drawing, or I saw something. I was moved by good drawings. I did not know just loving a drawing would make you an artist. Although right now I've learned that everybody is basically an artist. And so we used to come together, try to draw, as everybody else, all kids would do, and compete with each other, see what we could do. And in my teens, I became more a professional artist, also a craftsman. And I started going to exhibitions, watching exhibitions. I love the Haitian paintings. You might say this was one of my immediate influences by watching them because they were colorful and so forth. And in a broader sense, I started understanding the broader painters like Picasso and Matisse and the rest. But still, at one point, I thought it was not possible to be an artist in the Caribbean, a real artist in the Caribbean, because of the structures we have, which are not in place. And but at some point, I realized I was pushed into this direction. And I met guys I came to St. Martin, and I met guys like Romeo Beardens and so forth, which made me understand the Caribbean better, make me understand myself also better, and other influences around me. So yes, this is what make me become an artist, yes. By watching Picasso and all the other guys, including Mr. Romeo Bearden. Roland Richardson helped me with my first exhibition, I should mention, on the island. And in St. Martin, I had my first painting exhibition. I have to mention that, at the Pastor Dow Gallery in Marigat. So I grew up, I became a serious artist on St. Martin. A matured artist, as a matter of fact. In Guadeloupe, I stayed a while. I did some work in Guadeloupe, yes, as an artist. I never exhibited paintings, but I exhibited craft works because I did a lot of leather work and calabashes and sculptures. But my first painting exhibition was on the island of St. Martin. And I had stuff like pyrographics, which a few people might know or might not know about. And so yes, this is my evolution of becoming a real artist. Well, with the gallery and everything, as you yourself know, it was started through the Art Agency Foundation. Now, the word, as it says, the Art Agency Foundation, means we wanted to be an agency to work with artists. But again, our society does not allow you to function in this way, in a proper sense. So once you go in that direction, it's always a struggle. For two reasons. It's because, again, the structures for a proper art agency to function is not there, both mentally and physically. And but from my perspective, being an artist, I needed a place where I could function. And I have to give thanks to guys like Mrs. Pigeons, who realized that so St. Martin Society, as every other society, we need artists to function. So he gave us some form of leeway to function from an artistic viewpoint. The gallery, you showed at the gallery, several other people showed at the gallery. Then we came to Axum, which was a little more complicated because we were dealing with multiple facets of art. Some people say artists are not great businessmen. I would say yes and no. But yes, we're still here at Axum, so I think it's good. It's good for the environment, it's good for the art. As a facilitator for the arts, I think it's great. That's what I could say. It's great for facilitating arts on the island. Yeah, being a facilitator is always good for one environment, you know, for one's environment, because I always use the opportunity to mention that the Nobel Prize winner from St. Lucia, from St. Lucia, with parents from Antigua, Sir Arthur Lewis, he always says that 50% of the Caribbean economy is dormant, sleeping. And and when they asked him what was this 50%, he said it was in the arts. And I think this is very easy to understand. But the hard part is, why are we not understanding what he meant? And countries like Singapore, which are affluent countries, uses his methods. Nigeria uses his methods. China uses his methods. And he is a Caribbean economist with a Nobel laureate. And our government has no affiliation to his theories. So to me, this is kind of weird. So when people like me and other people try to facilitate for the arts, it's just been a drop in this 50% which is dormant. So I think it's a duty of, if you're an artist, it's your duty to facilitate for your other fellow artists. I think it's as you. Music was one of my fascinations from ever. My father is a professional musician. My uncle is a professional musician. My father's survived from his music, lived from his music. He was a trumpeter. He had his band and everything. What I noticed with my father was the same old Caribbean trend that I knew my father gigging in one spot for about almost 30 years. Now, it's what they would call, yes, his bread and butter, but what I think it is, part of our demise and our blessing is the tourist industry. He just was serving the tourist industry 100%. Me saying that I love to create, that's the only approach I have to music, is to create. Sometimes when you create stuff, people find it maybe weird or strange if they do not know it or understand it, but this is what I enjoy. So I made this studio which is both digital and analog, and I'm experimenting. I made a CD, which with the voodoo you do, without understanding the meaning of digital nor analog. But after I did the CD, I understood what is digital and analog, and I get to hit the CD because it was too digitized. So now I have this analog stuff. I'm dabbling in engineering. I took some crash courses. A lot of stuff I couldn't understand, I'm understanding now. So this is what I'm at now, trying to be a good sound engineer. So I have the facility to create the song that I'm looking for. And I think now I'm achieving that. I don't know how much time I have, but I think, well, you know, that's what it is now, for me. I could say again, creativity is like a disease. It's not you, it's the creativity which is obsessed you. It takes you and makes you do weird things that you're not supposed to be doing. Or it has no financial benefit directly, but it seems to, it's a kind of curse, a kind of blessing and a curse in disguise. So you become a victim of your creativity. And you just do things, like as a kid too, I remember sitting there, let's say in the sun, making mud statues in the hot sun. I'm saying, why am I doing that? But there was a strange relationship where I was doing that. I don't know why, but I just would be making statues out of mud, sitting in the hot sun. And I'm wondering now, why would I do something like that? So I think creativity is a very, what it is? A skill, a gift, I don't know what it is. But it's a very powerful something which makes you do strange things. So if you are an artist and you are just a visual artist and you feel comfortable with this, it's okay. But in my sense, I'm audio visual. And with the voodoo the voodoo you do, what I liked about it was, one person said that a DJ from the United States, he heard from a few tracks from it, and he said that Art-Mosera was doing audio art. And I was proud, you know. I was proud to hear that he said, and I was wondering what he meant. I knew what he meant, but I was still wondering, why would this be audio art and something else not audio art, you know? Because I think music is just music. So, but he was more experienced than me, so I took this as, what do you call it? As a good, you know. So, but in my head, I think visual art, as what it says, music is audio art. So I think it's the same thing, just audio visual. Just as we need movement, performing arts, we see movements, because that's what we use. The senses are always active. Right? That's what art is about, the senses. Perfume and everything. Most of my paintings, subjects are female figures. Okay, I'm known for that. And the question is, why female? I think female scapes are the best scapes in my world, instead of landscapes or seascapes. I try to celebrate Caribbean women. It's almost like a duty. My other type of paintings are social commentary, which are the paintings like Placebo or new mythologies, paintings which would stimulate discussions and social commentaries. So my women are supposed to be sweet. Some people call them my commercial pieces, which, yes. And my social commentary paintings are my provocative social stimulations. How do I see myself as being a local artist or Caribbean artist or in a global context? Okay, the way I paint, yes, since I'm from the Caribbean, I was born in the Caribbean, so I'm automatically a Caribbean artist. But in the global context, I try to paint in a way which I would say has global appeal, meaning that I do not paint for a specific market, because there's a thin line between what I would say, there's a strong realism or a work which is already a work of art. Sometimes there's a little technicalness, meaning that a painting, in my viewpoint, a painting should fit in any environment as what it is, without being intrusive in the other person's environment. So I thought of this, I learned about it, and I also realized other people did, and they spoke about it. So for instance, you make a female figure. If you painted a woman in a very realistic form, then somebody purchased this painting and they put it in the house, it would be like a stranger in the house, sitting in the house. But if the same painting, you make it in a very artistic way, like it's still a nude figure or whatever it's supposed to be, but it fits in any environment. So in this sense, I see myself in a global context. So I paint for the world. Being from the Caribbean, but I paint for the world in a global context. So I have no borders with my paintings. Sometimes we speak about the Caribbean in context. In the Caribbean, we are very, very proud people. Very, very proud people. And what destroys us sometimes in the Caribbean with our proudness, because of our, as one great writer from the Caribbean said, Derek Walcott said, our narrow nationalism. But meaning at every island thing, they are the best. That's a problem. But if we study the Caribbean and we come together as Caribbean people, both in the artistic form and whatever, and first we have to acknowledge that we have a lot of problems, mental problems in the Caribbean. Why we have mental problems? Because our history, cause and effect, well, slavery and the effects of slavery. Some people would say, let's forget it. No, there is some form of therapy which need to be done to our own selves. And we could discuss art as much as we want. Like I said, Arthur Lewis said, we are 50% of our economy is dormant. Who should be seen about this? Yes, art facilitators, social activists, yes, but also our governments should take into consideration what Arthur Lewis said. But what I noticed in the Caribbean, we are cultural illiterates. As brutal as it might sound, we are cultural illiterates. I'm not saying they, I'm saying we, meaning that we have not understood how to market art, how to promote art. And there is an old saying which everybody knows somewhere, that when you have good governance, the art flourishes. And maybe when we reach the point when we have good governance and the art flourishes, then we will not be cultural illiterates. And that we should strive to achieve. But we have a lot of problems as Caribbean people, lots and lots of problems because of race, different shades of color, nationalities, languages, and the so-called dialects in between. And we each representing its colonial past or something, thinking that it's the best. Where we are the same one people, same sunshine, same people, but we are complex people, very, very complex. You make a pledge? Oh yes, you'll give. You made a resolution to start a revolution. Fight and you fought and you found the solutions to the problems. You were lost and now you found, and you homeward bound and you realize, you victoriously realize it's just sex and the money and the money and the sex. Sex and the money and the sex. Sex and the money and the money and the sex. Sex and the money and the sex. Sex and the money and the money and the sex. Sex and the money and the sex. Sex and the money and the money and the sex. Sex and the money and the sex. Oh mama. Oh, the honey, the donny. I've got change, I've got change, I've got change to make an exchange. You making plans? Oh, yes you can. You see the blanks, you fill them in. You see the water, and you jump right in. Catch 22 taking over you, taking over me. And it's just, you know, sex and the money and the money and the sex. Sex and the money and the money and the sex. Sex and the money and the money and the sex. Sex and the money and the sex. Sex and the money and the money and the sex. Sex and the money and the money and the sex. Sex and the money and the money and the sex. Art is a form of therapy, honestly speaking, because we all could communicate. Let's take, for instance, okay, let's speak about this English-speaking Caribbean. Or let's take a classic, The Mighty Sparrow. Everybody in the Caribbean knows the Mighty Sparrow for what he is. So let's call that a form of therapy. If you go to Bob Marley, we'd say the whole world knows Bob Marley. But art is a facilitator. And when we watch Caribbean people participating in sports in the world, we seem to be rooting for them. That means we have something in common about ourselves. But I think art is a form of therapy for Caribbean people. And if the artist himself is aware that art is a therapy, it's therapeutic, I think then it makes things easier. So art is the way, because like what Arthur said, this is what's going to enlighten us and bring the other part of our economy to life. So I think we have to move in this direction, both therapeutically and economically. The rhythm of freedom. Justice only dances to the rumors of liberation. Justice dance, 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 justice dance. I said too. Justice only dances When 10 million becomes one and the clamor like a judgment day trumpet, melting skies, eclipsing sand, melting powers from the north to the south. I told them, justice only dances to the rhythm of freedom. Blessed thanks to you for having me on Talk Art. I enjoyed it. And blessing. I told them, justice only dances to the music of freedom. Dance, justice, dance, justice, dance, justice.